All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in tonight's video. This is, like we talked about a couple of days ago, the definition of flying under the radar. And it's really interesting because Tampa hosted a playoff game last year. They actually won that playoff game last year. But at the same time, halfway through last season, Baker Mayfield, first year in Tampa, you start off the year 2-0. There was a point in time where Tampa was 4-7, and they rattle off wins against Carolina, Atlanta, my Green Bay Packers, Jacksonville, and then lose to New Orleans and win against Carolina, 9-8, and make the playoffs. But it's just crazy to me how. And I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I think the Atlanta Falcons do have a good roster, and I'm intrigued by their future. I'm intrigued by, the Carolina Panthers' future. I'm not really sure what New Orleans is doing. I'm a South Carolina Gamecock fan, so I hate to say this out loud, but I think Spencer Rattler at some point could be something maybe there. But the point just is, for a team that went 9-8 and was 4-7 at one point with a brand new. A lot of things, but mainly quarterback in the first year post Tom Brady. Like, folks, we debated if it was going to be Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield 1 year ago, just a little over a year ago. We were wondering who the starting quarterback was going to be. And obviously Baker ran away with it, but Baker had a phenomenal season, like literally a phenomenal season. And he did all of this with an underperforming defense, specifically in the secondary, giving up way too many passing yards, giving up way too many big-time plays. And we'll talk about that. I really want to talk about Jordan Whitehead because I think that's also a prime example of how underrated this team truly is. But it's going to be a completely new running attack. It's going to be a completely new offensive scheme. And I think it's going to be extremely less predictable than it could have been at times last year, specifically with that run game. But Baker's got weapons on weapons, and it's a young, hungry, chip on the shoulder team. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in tonight's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL and Buccaneers content. We're trying to get this video to 100 likes. That would mean the world to me. You guys were freaking out. Some of you guys were freaking out. I said I was moving to Tampa in our video a couple of days ago. I live in Florida. I live in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm fully aware of how there's too many people in Florida, especially Tampa. But anyways, I'm excited to hit a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game at some point this upcoming season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers improved in virtually every single category, in my opinion. The offensive line, huge move, getting Graham Barton in the first round. Folks, this is an absolute game changer, like a day one instant game changer. And yeah, maybe he'll struggle a little bit out of the gate like most rookies do, but the offensive line's vastly improved. The running back room is vastly improved, and Rachaad White is just extremely underrated in general. You have so many weapons, and Baker Mayfield has the chemistry with all of these weapons, except maybe J-Mac, obviously being a rookie. I think overall the defense, once again, young, hungry. There's guys like Yaya Diaby that people just don't really know. Kalijah Kancey, dudes just don't really know who these guys are. So I was reading an article on The Athletic, and we've been doing this for every team in the league, or every video I've made in the last couple of days. The NFL executives, unanimously, as always, are ranking, or I guess it has to be unanimous, but whatever, or unanimous, blah, blah, blah. They ranked all NFC teams, and Tampa clocked in here at 10. And what was weird is, I won't give you the excerpt, I won't give you the article, what they had to say about it, but it was just like kind of positives. like no one was really saying anything negative. There is a little bit of concern, I would say, league-wide about the loss of Dave Canales. But if you do a deep dive on Liam Cohen, I think maybe they might struggle a little bit in the first 4 to 6 weeks of the regular season as far as consistency goes. But long-term, I think Liam Cohen is going to be a much better game caller for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. He's bounced between the Kentucky Wildcats in college and the Los Angeles Rams. But Buccaneers fans are extremely optimistic. I was reading an article, NFL fan base hope rankings, because we did the power rankings the other day, and everyone was putting Tampa between 21 and 24. And I'm just sitting here, I'm thinking, like, they didn't really lose anything. Why is this team getting so much worse? Maybe just because they lost Dave Canales, and I get it that that could be something there. But I mean, I'm telling you, man, he's got so many weapons. There's still no pressure. there's really no pressure for Liam Cohen to come in here and turn Baker Mayfield into an MVP candidate. Once again, last year, despite having by far the worst rushing attack in the National Football League and a underperforming defense, specifically once again in the secondary, I just Baker 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, completion percentage through the roof. I mean, Bake's got that chip on his shoulder, and I think he's like the perfect example of a leader. Like Baker Mayfield is a dude you want leading your football team. And once again, there's just no pressure for anybody on this roster. So the Buccaneers, 83.2% optimism rating. I just think it's going to be a more diverse, creative, versatile offense. So I just don't understand a lot of this concern with the offensive coordinator loss. But once again, I get it. In previous history, maybe that could be an issue. Baker Mayfield, just his entire career has dealt with this, so it does suck. Would hate to lose coordinators, but I'm trying to take a positive spin on it because I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Tampa starts the season off with a home matchup against the Washington Commanders, and there are a couple of tough games littered through your schedule. You got Detroit on the road, I believe, in week 2. I think you got Philadelphia in week 4, and then there's like this kind of interesting 3-game stretch right before your bye week where you hit Atlanta, the Chiefs, and San Francisco. And then you hit your bye week, and then you got Giants, Raiders, Chargers, Panthers, Saints, whatever it was. Tampa on paper to me is going to be at least a 9-8 team. And if they can win one of these games against the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City, San Francisco, if they can even go 2-2 in that stretch, this should be a 10-7 roster. So a lot of concern was the secondary last season for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And we talked a lot about Tyreek Smith, the new defensive back out of Georgia, in the 3rd round. I mean, 4 interceptions in 2023. It was tied 3rd most in the SEC. One of the 3 college football players with 4 more interceptions and 2 or more sacks last year. I mean, his stats are just beautiful. He was targeted on 9% of his coverage snaps since 2022, but he's held opposing quarterbacks to 2.8 yards per attempt in that span. Like, that's the 6th best mark in college football. So he's a rookie, and he's going to struggle a little bit. But your secondary is going to look something like Zion McCollum, Tyreek Smith, Jamel Dean. But this is one of the most underrated, under-talked about safety duos in the National Football League. I don't need to tell you anything about Antoine Winfield. Nothing needs to be said. Just his name is enough. He's that caliber of a safety. To me, by far the best safety in the National Football League. And then they bring in Jordan Whitehead, who you guys remember started his career with Tampa. I mean, folks, Jordan Whitehead was a beast in New York playing with the Jets last season. 97 total tackles, even had half a sack, 9 passes defended, and most importantly, he had 4 interceptions. I mean, they got 2 freaking ball hawk playmakers in this secondary. So I see a vastly improved offensive line, especially with the new center addition. I see a vastly improved secondary, specifically the safety room. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't know why Tampa will be below 500. So that's just me ranting for a video before the week 1 game. Thank guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Give me some stats down below, or some. I'll ask the question. That was confusing. Where do you see Tampa finishing this season as far as a win-loss prediction? Give it to me straight. No biasy, no fandom, even though we love it. Keep it a buck down below. Give me the win-loss prediction for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and hopefully in 4 months from now, we'll go back, look at it, and see a bunch of 11-6s, 10-7s, and that's exactly hopefully what's going to happen. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. Enjoy football tonight. We'll see you in a couple of days. Peace.